Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga. The American Grand Prix just finished. Well, Netflix would have loved it, as I said in my title. Where do I even begin this race? It's almost like Netflix is kind of puppeteering the whole race to make it as dramatic as it gets, with so much happening, right? Like from the start to the end, there was not a dull moment. That's kind of very interesting on a 56 lap race in the middle of Texas, like Austin, like beautiful race. Like from the first lap, Carlos Sainz, he is so unlucky. He just can't have anything but bad luck. He can never have good luck. I don't get it. I don't know, like, how is it possible? First lap, first corner, he gets tagged by Russell. And he spins around, and that's it. His race ends. And Russell only gets a 5-second time penalty. I don't get it. But this is the first lap of the 56 lap circuit. How do you give him just 5 seconds? Like, there has to be something harsher. But I don't want to get into FIA and their own stewarding and stuff and so on right now. But yeah, from there onward, it was pretty clear. Verstappen was leading with Leclerc kind of coming through the ranks from the P12. He started coming back in. It eventually ended up with almost like Verstappen was leading most was Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell, and Perez. That's kind of how it was at the start, and then the safety car happened with Bottas kind of beaching it, and then a safety car in let everybody go into the pit stops. It was a two stop for majority of the people, but it was nice to see Vettel kind of changing it and leading the race at one point. He was on a one stopper. It would have worked for him if he had a long stint as well, so the pit stop kind of just messed the whole thing up for him. But it didn't end there, which is not that simple. There was another safety car with Stroll kind of moving under brake, or kind of just moving under the whole race. It kind of pushed. That kind of pushed. He had Alonso right behind him, and then he moved and they touched tires, like almost Alonso kind of up in the air a little, but Alonso kind of carried on. He went on to finish P7. What an amazing drive for him! Like, he is the best of the rest in that sense. But Stroll kind of was done by then. It just turned around like perfectly with when Verstappen did not have a good pit stop. Vettel was leading. At that time, Vettel was leading the race. With Hamilton behind, with Perez, with Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, and Verstappen. Verstappen's pit stop kind of got messed up, and then that's why he came behind all of them. So he had to kind of start chasing the pack. It was pretty quick with Leclerc in some sense, but then he was behind Hamilton by, I think, 4 seconds at one point, for 3.5 seconds at one point, and it was like 2 seconds gap, and 2 seconds gap and 10 laps to go. But that was kind of the interesting part of the race. That's where it kind of came alive. But that was the battle at the front that was kept happening. Verstappen got him 3 or 4 laps or 5 laps kind of before, like truly kind of putting in, getting him out of the DRS and everything. He had 7 laps when he crossed him, in a way, when he crossed Hamilton for the lead of the race again. Of course, Verstappen went completely quiet. He was kind of getting a job done, but he also was kind of being told by his race engineer the fact that he already had a black and white flag, which meant that he would have got a 5-second penalty if he would again kind of exceed the track limits. Similar warnings were given to Hamilton as well. But then the race was just not that. It was Leclerc finished P3. I think Ferrari kind of was never in a hunt for the race. It was between kind of Leclerc. If Max will be able to kind of catch up to Hamilton after kind of the horrendous pit stop they had, and he did. One day, but I think they would want to kind of win for Massachusetts, the Red Bull co-owner who sadly passed away this before the start of the weekend. But just to catch up on the results here, Russell was P5. He couldn't hold back well. He took an extra pit stop to kind of get the fastest lap, so he gets the fastest lap as well. Norris was on a good charge at the end of it. That was pretty interesting to see for me. It's he coming back and finishing P6. Alonso P7. Vettel, what a drive that man. Last lap shenanigans. Still, that guy still has it. I don't know why he's retiring. Driver of the day, Sebastian Vettel. He could have finished much higher than this, but then his pit stop was pretty bad as well. 16 seconds standing in a race. That's just horrendous. But he kept going. So, but he got Magnussen on the last lap as well. It's Magnussen P9. Yuki Tsunoda P10, taking the last point. Schumacher was penalized, I think, for the time penalty for exceeding track limits himself. But because he was around P10 for a long time. Ocon, I think he should just forget he even came here. Albon was fighting hard, but then he couldn't hold off. Zhou was good. Zhou was good. He tried his best. Gasly again around this weekend. Ricciardo, I don't know which world was he living in. Like if Norris and Ricciardo have the same car, and Ricciardo is like how far is he? Like, yeah. So but then Latifi, the last one, and Stroll, Bottas, Sainz were out of the race. That's why I said Netflix will have loved it. This was the perfect race. 440,000 people at the event. What a global event it was. Amazing to watch, amazing to follow in a way as well. Just beautiful. But what a moment to also give Red Bull their first win after 2013. Like this one. Like this is pretty big for them. 2012, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2022. That's how amazing it was. Obviously, everybody's kind of very emotional about that as well, with Dietrich Mateschitz passing away and the Red Bull owner. But constructors nailed, and the drivers, of course, lost in Suzuka itself. But then Christian Horner did say, "You are the world champion." To Max. I think he just wanted to kind of say that out loud like he did last year in Abu Dhabi. But then I think both constructors and drivers done. We now go to Mexico from here, but then it's just now kind of testing and maybe 2023 and further development. But it's good to see Mercedes kind of coming. But of course, for them, it's more like who comes like it does Mercedes. Close the gap to Ferrari, or how will it work if Ferrari's bad luck continues? They keep scoring double points. That's the thing with at least with Mercedes. They're pretty consistent. They don't lose. They don't DNF much throughout the season, which is not the case with the Ferrari. But then there are still fights happening with McLaren, Alpine, Haas, Aston Martin, Alpha Tauri. So a lot of, and Alfa Romeo, a lot to play around with. Looking forward to getting more and then preparing for the next race. That's Mexico. And see you then. Do let me do share your comments. What do you think about this race? I think it was pretty nice. I think this is generally a very kind of boring or kind of low key race, but then it became exciting. I think the fact that the cars can run behind each other very without losing too much time, the drag and everything, that just helps. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. Do like this video, do share and subscribe to the video. We're on Instagram called Sports with Monga. Red Bull, the driver and the constructor champion for 2022.